Carlos Alcaraz might be the prohibitive favorite in this draw, although world number one Jannik Sinner, of course, has been the dominant force of the tour outside of losing to this one player. So it's kind of interesting. We feel like we're entering this new wave of the two of them carrying on this potentially incredible rivalry. And it's reminiscent to me of obviously the rivalry we saw with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, we've gone from big four to big three to what is it, a big two right now, dynamic duo, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
It doesn't seem like they want to share these big titles. And as we said at the French, you and I were so adamant that we were going to be shocked if it was anyone other than Alcaraz Sinner in the finals. And sure enough, that's exactly what we got. It was one of the greatest finals I think that we've seen. So that was terrific for these two to not just be there. It's not quantity, but it's the quality of it as well, which is ramped up. I am going to go out on a limb and say I think Djokovic is going to do his very best, and I would not be surprised if he was able to get his 25th Grand Slam title. I think this is the best place he could still do it. He's made the last 6 finals at Wimbledon, albeit losing the last 2 in a row to Alcaraz. And I know Alcaraz made it, close 2 years ago in their first final together in 2023. Last year, Carlos just took it up a notch, and it was a straight set, pretty routine victory. But I want to wonder, maybe Alcaraz coming off the French Open, could there be some fatigue there? Could Djokovic take advantage of that? And again, knowing what is on the line for him, I mean, he's going to be the oldest. He's going to try to become the oldest men's Grand Slam singles winner in the Open era. I think there's just so much there for him to want it, similarly to last summer when he so badly wanted that Olympic medal. That to me, this is the perfect sort of scenario for Novak to get this perhaps last slam.
I will say, and he's very well aware of it from just watching his pre-tournament conference. He says this is absolutely his best shot at a 25th major. He knows he plays his best tennis at Wimbledon beyond the Australian Open, and I wonder also if the dynamic has changed on that hard court surface with just how good Jannik Sinner is on hard courts, and seeing him starting to kind of take over that surface a lot over the past couple of years. But Djokovic, just the experience factor, knowing how well he moves and understands the grass, how well he manages this tournament over a 2-week time frame, that yes, he is, if we're making a list of, to me, there's 3 clear guys who can win this tournament on the men's side, and it's, we all know the names: Sinner, Alcaraz, Djokovic. It's maybe there's a question, do you see a 4th or a 5th? But if we look at the draw here a little bit, on the top half, obviously we see Jannik Sinner with the 1 seed, but you trickle down here to this kind of bottom section, and Novak Djokovic seeded 6th. He's not in that top 4, but I think his path for the first couple of matches, at least for me, I don't know your thoughts, but it looks pretty comfortable, especially these first couple of matches.
He's got a very nice path. Dumenauer perhaps in the 4th round. Now, they were supposed to meet in the quarters a year ago, but Dumenauer had to withdraw and give Djokovic a pass.
Yeah,
But you get to the quarters, and then a Djokovic-Draper match would be pretty mouth-watering, especially given the crowd would be so supremely behind Jack on that one.
for sure.
For Sinner, I like Ben Shelton up there as well, and his game, I think, is really made for the grass, and he had some success last year. We've got last year's semifinalist, Musetti. I don't think that's as likely to see a repeat, but the Italian will certainly be trying to defend those big points that he got a year ago. But Sinner, Shelton, Draper, Djokovic, to me in the top half sounds like a beauty. Couple of quarterfinal matches there.
Yeah, and look for Jack Draper. He has a tough draw, and I think last year he came in with a lot of confidence. He'd beaten Carlos Alcaraz on the grass courts, and there were high hopes for him to maybe achieve a big result, and he lost early, I believe, to fellow Brit Cam Norrie. Obviously, he's in a different place in his career now, an established top 10 player, a Masters 1000 champion, played great on the clay. Alexander Bublik, though, who did defeat him at the French Open, I mean, he's riding as high as he's ever really been.
Who wants to face Bublik right now? That's not the name that you want to see, because he is
No
just on
kidding.
a scorching run. And
Yeah,
when he's on, he's showing us just exactly how darn good of a player he can be.
for sure. So I have concerns over even Draper's early rounds. Like, I think he wins this first match against Sebastian Baez. Sure, Marin Cilic is older now, I understand, but that would not be an easy second round. He's a guy who's been to a Wimbledon final before, very dangerous. And then, yeah, Bublik could be a potential third round. So that's not an easy path at all. I'd watch as well for number 15, Jakub Mensik, who is our Miami Open winner. I think he can play well and pretty well any surface. I think he's adapting to the grass pretty quickly too.
He's
So
got a
he's
nice
in
little path to the fourth round too there, I think.
for sure. And, in terms of his level on grass right now, it's probably still a bit of a learning curve. I don't think he made any quarterfinals in the lead up tournaments, but really big and dangerous game. So it wouldn't shock me to see someone like that, as you say, make a fourth round or knock on the door of a quarterfinal.
Now we're going to chat about the Canadians in a little bit, but I just want to get
Mhm.
back to also Alcaraz and Sinner. And, there's some interesting stats and historical opportunities for these two as well, if you look at them. For Yannick Sinner, he is going for, he would be the third fastest to make, or third youngest to make all four Grand Slam finals, should he make the finals of Wimbledon. Should he do it, it would have taken 23 Slam appearances to accomplish that. Agassi did it in 22. Jim
Okay.
Courier did it in 19. So Courier was the fastest and really reminds you of just how damn good he was at a young age on all surfaces
Yeah.
and how that inside out forehand and an aggressive game just translated on every surface. But that's a real testament to just how quickly Sinner has risen up the ranks. And for Alcaraz, he could be going for, well, he is going for a sixth Grand Slam at the age of 23. That would tie him with two of my all-time favorites, Stefan Edberg and Boris Becker. And again, just look at how quickly Alcaraz is accumulating these huge accomplishments in the sport.
Yeah, it's been absolutely remarkable, and honestly, I think I would understand even more than physical fatigue, mental fatigue coming off the high of winning the French Open, but the fact that he was able to turn around and win Queen's Club, he's on an 18-match winning streak. It feels like he managed that schedule pretty perfectly. Got the week off post French Open, enjoyed that Roland Garros victory. I know he was partying it up, and kudos to him. He deserved it. Gets the one lead up tournament, wins it, and now you look at his path. I mean, he will not have to go through a Djokovic Sinner back to back to win this title. First round, as you can see at the bottom half here, Fabio Fanini. I don't think he'll have any problems there. The veteran doesn't really do anything on grass, and at this point, he's just kind of clinging on to his career. I would say maybe early on. I mean, we'll talk about Canadians. Felix Auger-Aliassime is in this bracket to be a potential third round match. Jan-Lennard Struff can be dangerous as well. But when you get past that, I mean, do we trust that Tsitsipas is even going to make the round of 16 based on his level? Andrei Rublev, also very volatile. I'm not sure about those guys. If we're talking about the quarterfinals, I mean, Tiafoe is a name who could do some damage. Even Yuri Lehechka actually lost that final to him at Queen's Club in 3 sets. He's someone who could be in the quarters as well. But again, none of these names really frighten me as possible guys who could actually knock off Alcaraz in a best of 5.
No, it's true. They all seem sort of at their same level to give each other problems, but not necessarily to give Carlos any issues. I've got Fritz Zverev, Holger Rune, Alcaraz as my quarterfinal picks in this
Okay.
quadrant. Zverev, who is now at 38 slam appearances without winning one. I think the all-time record is Goran Ivanisevic, again, one of my favorites. It took him 48 attempts before he had that incredible 2001 wild card win on the lawns of the All England Club. I would be very happy to see Zverev overtake that record and
Yeah.
continue without winning a slam. And that's just my own personal bias, which I'm happy to share now to our listeners and audience.
Oh, I think everyone's fine with that. Here's a I can't believe I would call this a wild card name, but seeded number 9, Daniil Medvedev. I mean, it feels like he's dropped off a lot, in particular over the past year and a half. He hasn't won a title.
Yeah, I don't even
Well,
consider him like he doesn't pop into my mind in terms of one of the immediates, which is interesting because for many years he was a solid option at these majors, and
for sure.
maybe we're overlooking him, and maybe
Well, that's
good for him,
y-
to
yeah, exactly. Like when's the last time Daniil Medvedev has been kind of properly flying under the radar this much? But we should note, like, he did beat Sinner in the quarterfinals last year, and he did make the finals of Halle leading into this tournament. So that would tell you he's at least playing some better tennis. I think maybe he's finally trending in a good direction again. And I definitely, looking at his draw, there's no reason to think he's at least going to place himself, I would hope, in that fourth round. And, would you favor Fritz or Medvedev in a match?
Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up, to be honest, right? It's almost like who wakes up feeling better that day, who brings it,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's a coin toss for sure.
Yeah. So I think there's a path for Medvedev to, maybe make a quarter or semifinal. But if we were talking about Carlos Alcaraz, I don't see anybody stopping him before this final. I mean, Taylor Fritz could have his shot. As you mentioned, Sasha Zverev might have his shot. Medvedev, I mean, he's had all three of their numbers in matches. It really comes down to, can Jannik Sinner overcome Carlos Alcaraz? And of course, the wild card of Novak Djokovic. What level will we see from the 7-time Wimbledon champion?
Yeah, these are all good questions. And, another question to ponder here is which Canadian is going to go the furthest in the
Yep.
men's draw for you between Felix Chapo and Gabriel Diallo? And if we look at them from last year, I mean, Chapo had a decent Wimbledon, making the third round last year. That was positive for him because he had been slumping for some time. He fell to Ben Shelton. There's no shame in that. But he's
Mhm.
got those third round points that he's going to want to hang on to. If he can get to the third round, it's going to be likely him facing Yannick Sinner. So that's not something to really eagerly anticipate if you're a Chapo fan. For Felix last year going out to Kokkinakis after holding a 2-set to love lead, and we've talked about quite a bit on the podcast this year, his inability to close things out when he's up by 2 sets at a major.
Yeah.
Uh, Him making the third round to me would be progress. I don't know how much faith I have in that happening right now with his overall sort of state of mind. There, he would face Carlos Alcaraz, so both him and Shapo have a heck of a tough draw. And then you get Gabriel Diallo, who to me is our best bet. I'm going to tell you right up, this is who I think is going to go the furthest between the three. And what a testament to his improvement this year. He just won a grass court tournament, which is terrific stuff.
Yep.
And oh, he's up there with Fritz, though, isn't he? So,
He's
yes,
got a bad draw. He's got a tough draw
he's
for
got a
sure.
bad draw, but maybe he's someone who could trouble Fritz and surprise him a little bit as well.
Yeah, look, I will say, the obviously form-wise, the best of our three men's Canadians, it's by a country mile, Gabriel Diallo, and that's not just over the past couple of weeks with him winning a title. That's collectively 2025, especially since the clay court season. I know Felix won a few titles earlier in the year, but the way Diallo played through that clay season, making a quarterfinals of a Masters 1000 in Madrid, beating Francisco Cerundolo, a top 20 player on clay on his preferred surface at the French Open, and then goes out and wins his first career title at the Libima Open. He's been in fantastic form and handsomely rewarded, around 40 in the world at this point. Gets an interesting first round against the German Daniel Altmaier. I like his chances there. As you said, I think that could be a really big problem match for Taylor Fritz in that second round if those two face off against one another. The way Diallo serves, his ability to close at net, I think he's really comfortable with the volleys. That's really important on the grass courts. So normally I would pick him to finish or go the furthest just based on form. The only reason I'm not is just I feel like Denis Shapovalov, if we go up here, has the best draw. He's going to play a clay quarter in the first round in Avone. I think he wins that. Probably he could face a wild card from Britain in the second or Pedro Martinez again. I think he wins that. I think he's going to get to the third round and then not last very long against Jannik Sinner, perhaps on court one or center court. I don't really give him a chance against Jannik Sinner. I don't really give many people a chance against Jannik Sinner, but I just feel like Shapovalov has the best path to win a couple of matches. Felix, I don't have confidence that he can get past even the second round right now if he runs into Jan Leonard Struff. It's just been too volatile, particularly in the best of fives at slams. He has to show me first before I'm backing him.
Agreed. And, unfortunately, probably the Canadian man who would be the biggest threat, even still on grass, is not there. And that's Milos Raonic with
Yeah.
that big serve and his experience there, former finalist. I know we're going back a number of years, but I think he still could have caused some damage if healthy, if his body could have maintained it. He was trying to get back for the grass court season. That was his plan to reappear this year. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's not injuries, so that's good news at least, but travel problems. He couldn't get out of the United States actually to get over there is what he shared with me. So he's now aiming for a hard court return to the game and a National Bank Open return as well. And not to get too much into the hard courts, but you'll recall 2 years ago when he beat Francis Tiafoe
Of
and
course.
was looking pretty sharp there for a bit. Everyone kind of thought that would be his final time playing his hometown, but it looks like, knock on wood, he will be there again. But I really think he could have been something on grass. I know Wimbledon denied him a wild card a year ago, which I thought was trash.
Mhm.
But between you and me, don't you think that game could still translate into a round of 16 type of appearance?
Oh, absolutely. And the moment he made that return on grass, what in 2023, I recall that first match back against Kekmanovic and winning in straight sets. And it was like watching Milos of old immediately, particularly the serve. And then we saw again, he set that ace record in most aces in a best of three match all time just the other year, blasting almost 50 aces against Cam Norrie. So that serve, that kind of game suited to grass will never leave him. It's remarkable how quickly he's able to turn on the switch. I think what maybe took it out of him a little bit last year, and I totally understand his eagerness to do this, was playing at the Olympics in Paris
Mhm.
because he got injured at that tournament again. I think it was just a lot for his body. He'd done the Wimbledon. He'd done some lead up tournaments, then goes over, switches over to clay. Probably the last time, certainly the last time we'll ever see him play on a clay court, I'm sure. And we didn't really get to see any more tennis from him since. And 2025, that's been the case. I feel bad because he was obviously building and planning to get back on the grass courts, but at least he'll get a summer hard court swing. We'll get to see him one more time in Toronto.
Yeah, for sure. Time to head over to the women's side, I think, eh, Ben?
Yeah, I did wanna mention a couple popcorn matches I
Oh,
had
yeah, go for it.
listed for first round. Um, Taylor Fritz against Giovanni Impecci Harry card. I think Fritz overcomes this one, but if we wanna talk about a big time dangerous serve, Fritz could be in for some trouble there. I also had this one listed, the Brazilian João Fonseca first experience playing Wimbledon, he gets the Brit Jake Fernley, and that's going to be on court one. And I think that's going to be an electric crowd. The Brazilians will be out for that one. You have the British crowd backing Fernley. It feels like almost a toss-up match. Fernley, he lost to Djokovic last year, kind of pushed him a little bit. Fonseca just lost to Taylor Fritz this past week in Eastbourne 7-5 in the third, so I think that's a really good one. And then I also had listed Ugo Humbert against Gael Monfils. I wonder if it's the
Mhm.
last time we see Monfils play Wimbledon. You just never know at his age, and it's just incredible how well he still plays. And
Seems to love it. He still seems to love it so
he
much. So
does
I'd love him to keep going. And
for
gosh, I
sure.
hope he ends up in Toronto as well. I mean, look, National Bank Open is less than a month away. I would love to see him play here for us one more time.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.